Hey YouTube, this is Brand Rider 1989 coming at you once again from the lovely place where I live. This is not going to be like my normal videos. Not at all. No. This is going to be an entirely different video, but it could be useful to you. If you've never seen any of my videos, I do a lot of commentary on YouTubers, food reviews, stuff like that. This is none of those. This is actually going to be a tutorial video on how to clean and maintain a Ruger LC9s 9mm semi-automatic pistol. This is going to be a completely safe video. This is going to teach you how to safely take down and clean the weapon without any issues or problems whatsoever. So first off, let's get this started. I'm going to move my camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, you may not see my entire face through this whole video, but that's alright because it doesn't require you to see my face. So this right here is the case in which I keep my gun when I'm not using it or carrying it, whatever. So it is currently locked. As you can see, I'm trying to pull this switch here, not moving. It's completely locked. So I have my key. What I'll do is I'll insert the key, give it a nice little twist. Oh, maybe I have to do it the other way. There we go. This way. So now this side is unlocked. So we're going to do the same thing over here. Now I don't need my key anymore. Now, and there she is. The Ruger LC9s 9mm semi-automatic pistol. You'll notice I'm keeping this in a safe direction. My finger is nowhere near the trigger. I'm not even touching anything but the end of the gun, the butt of the gun. That's all I'm touching. So I'm going to set this down in a safe direction while I move this case, and then we're going to go to work. So here we go. Now, in order to safely clean the Ruger LC9s, you're going to need, or any other pistol for that matter, you're going to need a few different things. One, you're going to need a good workspace. This is my dining room table. I would never ever clean a gun just on my dining room table. No. I have here a cut open Cheerios box. This will work just fine for that. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do with this pistol, I now know that I have everything I need. I have my standard gun cleaning kit, brushes, a rag, patches, and you got your bore cleaner and your gun oil. Now, these didn't come with spray bottle attachments on them. I just took some caps off of old spray bottles and used those. So now the first thing that we're going to do with this gun is, you'll notice that I have my finger behind the trigger, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the takedown process of this firearm. So, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction, keeping my finger off the trigger, you'll notice the safety on this weapon is on. That's because this weapon is fully loaded. There is a round in the chamber, and there are 7 rounds in the magazine. This is an 8-shot capacity gun. 8-round capacity gun, but it's got 1 in the chamber and 7 in the magazine. So it's a 7-round capacity mag with 1 in the chamber. So I'm just going to pop the chamber out of here, or pop the magazine out. Just like that. It is loaded, but we're going to come to that later on when I teach you how to take down the magazine as well. So now I can pop the safety off, keeping my hand away from the weapon or away from the trigger. I'm just going to pop out the bullet like that. Then I'm going to lock this back like this, just to show you that there's nothing else in the chamber, nothing else anywhere in this weapon. So now I had to pop it back in. The next thing you're going to need is this little orange thing. This is a takedown magazine. There's no way to put bullets in it. It's strictly for aiding you in taking down your weapon. For those of you who don't know anything about guns but might be interested in learning, and maybe that's why you've decided to watch this video, when I say taking down a firearm, that is simply just the process of disassembling the weapon so that it can be cleaned, or whatever else you might want to do with it. So now I'm going to take this tool, and there's a little pin in here that I have to get out called the takedown pin. Okay, once I have this pin out of here, now the pin is out. Just a tiny little pin, and I'm going to set it right there. Now I can do the next step. My safety is off, my gun is unloaded, my takedown pin is out. Now to get the slide off of the weapon, you simply pull the trigger. You hear that click. Next you're going to release the trigger and slide it off. Then you have just the bottom component of the weapon and the top, which is your slide, which includes your barrel and your spring. Now to get the spring out of here, all you do is push forward till it gives a little bit, and then push it up. Now the spring is out. To get the barrel out, push forward, then you pull up. Now the barrel is out. Now we're going to set all this stuff here because we are going to clean it in just a minute. First things first, I'm going to wipe this down because it seems like the last time I lubricated it, I may have lubricated it too much. So I'm going to use a rag and I'm going to wipe all this stuff down. Every little piece is going to get wiped because there's way too much lubrication in this gun right now, in all these parts. So, now that that's done, you can take a cleaning patch. That's a cleaning patch. Then I like to take this thing, and because I'm going to clean the bore first, the inside of the barrel, I'm just going to put a couple spritzes of this bore cleaner on here. Then I'm going to take it and put it on the end of this, just like that. So there's that. Now then you just take your barrel and you push it through. Now it didn't quite do what I wanted it to, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put this on top of that, and then we're going to work it through again, just like this. And once you get it in there, that'll work just fine. Then you can take the end of your brush You just kind of run it through there a few times, and then you'll see there's nothing in the barrel of that gun that would restrict the movement. Nothing at all. That is a perfectly clean barrel. But I'm going to run it through again just to make sure. That's perfectly cleaned. Now we set that aside, and then we will deal with this part, the slide lock. So to clean this, I like to take some gun oil and just kind of spray it on a patch. And then we'll slide it right in here like this. Make sure that gets nice and clean in there. And you can even do that for the bottom of the barrel as well. Just take it and make sure you get that nice and clean in there. You can also take the patch and run it along the sides of the slide as well. And then what I like to do is I like to take my rag. We're going to give that one quick spray of gun oil. And I like to make sure that every single part of this weapon gets cleaned. Because when it's dirty, it doesn't always function as well as it should. There. 12 minutes. Okay. So you just want to kind of take your time with this and don't rush it. Because if you rush it, it's not going to look as good and it's not going to function as well. Now that is pretty well cleaned. Now the next thing, you'll notice there's a lot of oil buildup here. I'm going to wipe this down because the last time I lubricated it, I didn't use the right thing. I used gun oil instead of my bore cleaner because I couldn't find my bore cleaner at the time when I was just lubricating the gun. So now that that's all cleaned, I'm going to take, actually I don't need to take that out, I can just keep it in there. So, now, when it comes to this, this is your magazine. Now, I'm going to unload the magazine because I'm going to teach you how to take down the magazine. So we're going to put all of our bullets in a line. Since we don't need this anymore, we're going to move it. We don't need any of this. So we're just going to put our bullets right here. 4 little, 5 little, 6 little bullets. Sorry, an old preschool song. Only that was Indians and not bullets. Huh. So where'd the other one go? Oh, here it is. Alright. So, this is a spring-loaded magazine. So to take this down, we take any simple tool. You'll notice there's a little thing right here. That'll trigger the spring lock. So we take this tool and we push it down until we hear that pop. Then we take off the cover. We set the cover down. Now this is a spring, so you're going to want to keep your hand on that little black dot. You take the spring out, and there's the spring. Now inside here, there's one other component, and that's perfectly fine. Now, you can take a brush if you want to. That's what I usually do. Or I'll just take this patch, spray some bore cleaner on it. And we'll just take this patch and we'll put it right there. Maybe even stick it in here a little bit if it'll stay in. Then we just take our little thinger dinger here and we just run this patch, making sure we get every inch of this clean. Now, while we're doing that, now you see how dirty that is? That's really dirty. But it isn't anymore. So then when you're done doing that, you could even wipe down the outside with your rag, just because I'm going to throw that patch away later. Now, this is the tricky part. In order to get it back together, you slide this part in like that. You take your spring, you put the spring in like that. You hold the spring. Is this the right direction? Yeah, I believe it is. Take your spring, keep it pressed down. Then you pop that back on. Now, in order to make sure this is working right and that I have the spring in here right, I'm going to reload the magazine. If it's not in there correctly, it will give me some resistance that will tell me it's not in there correctly, and then I will readjust and do it that way. So far so good, because it's not giving me any sort of resistance yet. One to go. There we go. Now, magazine is completely loaded. We got one more round left. That's going to go back in the chamber once we've reassembled it. Now that your weapon is cleaned and oiled, well, cleaned, it's not been oiled yet, but it's been cleaned. Reassembly. So you take your barrel, slide it in, push it back. Take your spring, slide it into the spring slot, push it back. I'm going to take my gloves off for this because I don't need them. It'd be easier if I did it that way. Take your spring, push it in. Not sure what that click was. I don't like that. Okay. Then, once that's done, everything's still perfectly clean. You take your weapon with your takedown clip still inside of it, and you just push it back like this. Then you take your takedown pin and we're going to put the takedown pin back into place now. So you take this, just pop that back, then you take a tool, push that down in there, good and tight. Now, that is really stiff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my gun cleaner or my bore cleaner, and I'm going to spray some right down in here. And I'm going to give that another good spray. That should do it. Now, see that? That's much better. Now the next part is we take out our magazine. Now the gun is now in a position where the safety is off. That's because it is not loaded yet. I'm going to slide the magazine into the gun. Now it is loaded. The magazine is in the weapon. Now there is a round in the chamber. Therefore, the safety goes back on. And now we only have 7 rounds in the chamber, as indicated by the dots. So I'm going to load it back up again. And just in case you're wondering, these are 9mm hollow point rounds. Those are for self-defense, not target practice. Now, this gun is locked and loaded. This gun has multiple safety features on it. One, it's got the safety switch. It also has a safety trigger, as you'll notice by the design on the trigger. As long as this weapon does not have this center trigger pulled, or does not have it pulled all the way back with both triggers being in contact with each other, this weapon will not fire, even if the safety is off. The safety is on though because it is fully loaded, like I said. Now, I'm not going to put my finger on the trigger. This is now cleaned and loaded and lubricated, so that if I need to use it, which I hope I never do, I hope I never have to use this in self-defense. Yeah, that would not be a good thing. But anyway, this gun is a 9mm pistol. I chose this weapon because I've got small hands. But this weapon fits perfectly right in my hand. You'll notice my finger's nowhere near the trigger. Nowhere near it. Because this weapon is loaded. And it would be highly unsafe of me to mess around like that. So, this gun is small. It's quite easy to fire. I mean, the first time I fired this weapon was the day I bought it. Which was also the day I took my range test for my concealed pistol license. This weapon is so easy to fire, and it's low recoil. It's a nice weapon. I recommend the Ruger LC9s to anybody. If you have any questions about it, or if you have questions about how to get a CPL, if you live in the state of Michigan, I can help you out with that. Other states, I will recommend things for you. But if you're interested in getting to know about the Ruger LC9s, how much it costs, it may vary from store to store, but mine was relatively inexpensive. So now, once you're done with all that cleaning and everything else, I like to make sure that my tools, all my lubrication stuff, are in the space they're supposed to be in. My area is free from any kind of residue. And since I'm not carrying my weapon, I'm going to lock it back up in its case. So this is just a simple gun case. There are a variety of gun cases that you can buy. This one I just bought because it was at the gun shop and I needed a case to carry my pistol in since I did not yet have a license. But it's a pretty nice case though. So you point the pistol always in a safe direction, even when storing it. Since I'm in my house, I don't need to keep my ammunition and my weapon separate. I can have it completely locked and loaded in my house. The safety is on, so I know this weapon is perfectly secured. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and put this back on here. And then just for safety reasons, to make sure it's doubly safe, I'm going to go ahead and lock this gun case. And that's it, folks. That's how you safely take down and clean a Ruger LC9s 9mm semi-automatic pistol. So I hope you've enjoyed that little video. And this is Brand Rider 1989 signing off. Enjoy.